Mm-hmm.
Now let's get into cigars as far as when it comes to that. Cuts, certain cuts affects the smoke, the fire of the cigar.
Right.
Hole punch, in which Josh taught me, is just drawing straight filler. You're not getting a whole lot of transition. What's this all about, Josh? It made sense. Put the punch down and went into the guillotine crosscut.
Right.
I wasn't that good at it, so I had to get me a perfect cut because I didn't want to mess my cap up.
Right.
Because, of course, you know, it unravels.
Yep.
Then I started getting into what I've seen to be so popular, which is called the V cut, which originally the name of it is French cut.
Right.
Or people call it, no pun intended, the cat's eye. So
there you go again.
So there you go again.
We're always going to get there, aren't we?
We're going to get there some kind of way. But nonetheless, knowing how to, and then what gauge the cut of the French cut, V cut, cat's eye, it affects how it burns as well.
Right.
Based on you smoking. So a smaller gauge, you can cut it across a certain way. You can hold a certain way to draw the smoke through the filler binder.
Right.
And it would allow the wrapper to burn evenly. If you crown cut a 54, 58 up to 60 gauge or higher, you get all of it in an even burn. It don't get that uneven burn as you may see with this French cut.
Right.
So that's how I became who I am and known as how to smoke cigars.
Well, and that knowledge is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to Mateen and his knowledge of cigars. I have become a huge fan with most of the cigars that I smoke with a V-cut. I love a V-cut because I like the flavor that you get from the cap.
That's right.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that there is quite a bit of flavor in that cap on a cigar. That's some premium tobacco that they put on the cap.
Ooh.
And if you do a straight cut, if you cut it very much, the cap's gone.
You're going to lose it.
And I don't really care for a punch very much, although if you do a punch, it will leave part of that cap. But that V-cut, and you can see right here what that looks like. It actually cuts a V into it, so you've got the cap still remaining around here, which I just love. And I think it typically burns fairly evenly and smoothly.
Good stuff.
And I really love it. The cigar I'm smoking right now is the Allegiance by Epic Rio. And Epic Rio is one of my favorite cigars, one of my favorite brands. We are actually an Epic Rio lounge here at Holy Smoke, and we're one of, I think, either 3 or 4 in the nation. And we really appreciate what they bring to the table and what they have done with us by providing that business lounge for us. We have lounge members who, not lounge lizards. We've had a couple of those too. but the lounge members here, they literally come in here and work from the business lounge.
That's right.
And that's kind of an exclusive thing for them. And EPC has been very largely responsible for us being able to do that. But I'm smoking the Allegiance. You're smoking the Pledge.
That's a good point. And I'm going to segue to that and piggyback off of that, Dennis. Oliva and EP has become my 2 tops in the blends of which I smoke. Now, don't get me wrong. I smoke practically everything.
Oh, I know you do.
Everything across the spectrum. But when it comes to what I want to keep in my 6 humidors or my 6 small boxes, or call them my nest, I'm going to have me some EP Carrillos. I'm going to have me some Olivas.
Right.
I'm going to have some other things in there as well that's going to be my high premium cigars. But this is my blends, man, because the transition of flavors within the EP and the Olivas, how they blend these cigars.
Right.
So that's a good point, man, of being able to share an Oliva and EP Carrillo.
Yeah. And you probably are aware of this. This is one of the few selling points that my tiny brain has actually retained. But the Allegiance cigar is actually all Oliva tobaccos.
That's correct.
That Ernesto Carrillo got from the guys at Oliva and blended this cigar. And this cigar was number 5 of the year with Cigar Aficionado just last year. And I love this cigar. I absolutely love it. It is, I don't have a favorite cigar. Well, yes, I do. I have one. And it's the EPC Rebellious.
The Rebellious.
Which they no longer make.
Right back in the day.
And so if anyone sees this and you've got some Rebellious at home in your humidor, If you will contact me, I will buy them because I just absolutely love that cigar. But typically, I have about like a top 5 list.
Okay.
And it changes from time to time, but the Allegiance is certainly on that list, and it stays there all the time. I will smoke one of these once every 2 weeks.
Yes, every now and then. So most people do have what they call their top 5, top 10.
Right.
I don't have that.
Yep.
I don't limit myself in that because, of course, I love EP, I love Oliva, but I'm going to smoke everything else.
Yeah.
However, the best cigar I smoke is that one I got that's lit up.
Yep, there you go.
That's truly it for me.
Right.
Then it don't matter if it's an Avo, maybe it's an Opus X or a Casa Fuente or Arturo Fuente. 1926 is one of my favorites, or the 64.
Right.
Don't matter what it is. It could be New World, but it's gonna be that's gonna be my best cigar at that time.
Right.
Because I'm gonna enjoy that from the light up and the cut and tap some ash.
You're right. Right.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned something a minute ago that I would like for you to expand on a little bit. You mentioned whether it was Connecticut or all the way up to Maduro, whatever. I personally, I don't smoke Connecticut's very much anymore because I just don't get flavor out of them. Now, I have somewhat jokingly said over the years, and I'm not sure it's really a joke. I think there might be some validity to this. I believe that I have probably killed a lot of my taste buds over the years. I'm 70 years old. I have been drinking black coffee since I was literally 6 or 7 years old. I have been drinking red wine and brown liquor not since I was 6 years old, but it came along not too long after that. And I've been smoking cigars since about the age of 18. Now I smoked cigars all the way through junior high and high school. I was smoking the ones that you bought in the little box. They were called blueberry tipolettes, and they had the plastic tip on them.
Predating me, Dennis. I don't know about those.
Yeah. Those go way back. And in fact, I remember an advertisement that was in magazines back then for the blueberry tipolettes, and it had this gorgeous young lady, and the man in the picture is handing her his blueberry tipolette. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the ad said, "Give her your blueberry tipolette and she will follow you anywhere." Now, that's not the kind of advertising that we can get away with today, but it was great back in 1971.
Yeah, it was appropriate then, I guess.
But that's what I smoked. And now today, I prefer strength in my cigars. And I think it's because since I have killed a lot of those taste buds, it takes something with some strength to get through to me.
In order for you to enjoy that, you know that you're getting.
Yes.
All right, so let's segue to that. Connecticut's for me, I would start out, unfortunately today, I didn't have that opportunity, but first thing in the morning on a Saturday, if I'm going to sit out in my lounge, I'm going to smoke a Connecticut with my coffee. Okay. Because it pairs well. As you stated, it doesn't have that much of a transition of flavor. It isn't. Right. It doesn't. It's just a straight, lighter,
fairly mild.
Really mild. Yep. I mean, it is. And it goes well with coffee in the morning. And then through the course of the day, I would graduate all the way up to maybe after dinner or after lunch. Got to have something to eat up to a Maduro, which is a very strong cigar. Yeah. I mean, being that it's just aged longer. Yeah. A lot of people can't smoke Maduros because it's not for the faint of heart. Right. That's another thing that I learned early on in my life with smoking the Alley Black, the Max. So that you got to eat before you smoke that cigar, and you can't inhale that, even a retrohale, because it's going to knock you off your feet.
It will knock your head off.
Good Lord of mercy. And then you're definitely over the top. So that's the reason I would smoke a Connecticut, and then I'll move on to, the higher blends, Bellicoso or a natural, and then work up to, if I'm going to smoke that much during the course of the day, a Maduro. Right. So now let's talk about palates. The way I've learned since I've smoked all these cigars over the last 15 years is a little bit of chocolate. Dark chocolate changes my palate. Right. If I'm going to smoke something different. Eating some food changes the palate because now it gives me something different on my palate that I've eaten that changes up some cigar flavor. Right. As well as drinking some cherry juice in the mornings or in the afternoons as I'm smoking. So, or cranberry juice, it changes my palate. Right. So I'm okay with that. Right. At 62 years old, I won't have that problem after smoking for 15 years, but that's what helps me transition to another cigar. to where I can get that transition of flavor and say, ooh, I taste this in that. I taste that in that.
Right.
And I'm okay with that, whatever I pair it with, especially if I'm pairing it with some bourbon or if I'm pairing it with coffee.
Right.
So that's that
Well,
for me.
that's very interesting and very true about most people too. We cleansing your palate between types of cigars is a key, and it's very important. We do have guys that come in here, and they get here at 11 o'clock in the morning, and if they're either retired or they're not working that particular day, and they may be here for 7 hours, and they might smoke 3 or 4 cigars during that 7 hours. And I have noticed that some of them do not do anything to cleanse the palate between cigars, and they will be smoking a Corojo, and they get through with it, and they go from the Corojo to a Connecticut, which to me is going backwards. But it works for them, and whatever works for you is fine.
Whatever method of the madness that they have.
Nobody here is here to tell you how to smoke your cigars or what to do next, because it's completely up to the individual.
There's no rhyme or reason, Dennis. It's all subjective.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, you smoke what you're smoking, you like what you like, how you do it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that that's etched in stone or written in black and white as to how you smoke. That's because the same with such as life. There's no book on a way of doing things in life.
Right.
You learn as you go.
Yeah.
And that's the case with cigars. It's an equalizer, it's a common thread, and we all learn from each other to improve and better ourselves in the knowledge of smoking.
Right.
That's what I've learned, and that's why I love being around you guys, because I pick up from a lot of people around here, from guys that's doing that. Why would he do that? Why would he go from a Corojo backwards?
Yep.
And I'll ask him.
Right.
Or I ask her. That's interesting. Maybe I would try that and see how it works.
Right.
If it don't work for me, that's not for me. So that's why it's all subjective.
Yeah.
So there you have it, brother.
Yep. And just recently, because of my not smoking Connecticut very much, I decided I'll try to smoke everything that's in our humidor. I need to know what we have, what we sell, what's available. Have to have some personal knowledge about it, so when somebody asks me about it, I can talk with some intelligence about it.
That's a great salesperson.
And every now and then I will go in there and I will get a Connecticut. And one of our biggest sellers is a Perdomo champagne.
Oh my!
I mean, they sell like absolute hotcakes. And so 2 or 3 weeks ago, and this is not to denigrate the champagne, but I got one and smoked it because I thought, well, you know what, we sell a lot of those, and I need to smoke that to see if I like it better.
That's right.
And quite frankly, it just kind of left me flat because I'm not a Connecticut guy. And so I smoked it because I felt like I needed to, but that's just me. I sell them every day, and we've got guys that have been smoking as long as I have, and they're going to start their day with that Connecticut, with that champagne by Perdomo, and it's great.
That's funny you say that, because our friend John, that was his cigar, the 10th anniversary. And when I had that the first time, I think we was all celebrating his life going when we were down at Ed Mann's.
Right.
It just didn't sit well with me.
Right.
It was a Connecticut, but it just didn't sit well.
Yep.
It wasn't that it was a Perdomo, because I've smoked Perdomos as well, but that Connecticut just didn't sit well.
Right. Right.
People like them. I have friends, that's all they smoke. Perdomos, especially that 10th anniversary champagne.
Yeah.
And people like what they like, Dennis.
Yeah.
I'll buy them, and hell, I come in and help you sell them.
Yeah.
if that's what they want, take them all.
Oh yeah.
And then we'll restock. But it is what it is.